you know, he's just being obnoxious. No, he's not. He's wearing Wesley down. He's forcing him to find all these defensive moves. And he's, as you said, short of the time control, I think the more favors Duda. And in the second game, we see the players taking a breath, time for a Petrov. Not that it's a peaceful opening. Petrov getting slow.
Yeah, I would say that from that first game, as I'm reflecting on it, before we get into the middle of this one with the Petrov and these two traded off, but I will say that Wesley put amazing defense together, and for Jan-Krzysztof in time trouble, the fact that he was able to get what looked like an attack he couldn't quite handle, he put it together perfectly. But his mouse speed was there, so that bodes well for the chances.
Wow. Mouse both sides. I don't know, that looks so built. This is suspicious, but I'm probably going to now. You mentioned the Petrov. Yesterday on my stream, I was actually checking out the original book by Russian master Alexander Petrov. After people putting his name to the authored, I think, the very first chess book ever written in the Russian language, and it's available in fully digitized form online. And it was just fascinating to read how proper chess notation didn't really exist at the time. What a legacy this guy left on the game. Now Wesley and Duda are winning the opening, named after him.
Some people call it legacy, others call it misery, because trying to beat the Petrov on the white side has been a task that players have struggled with.
Petrov is a Russian game, but in other languages, but in Russian, it's Spanish game, I love that. Never really been
Although I guess in English these days we just call it Spanish.
I always call it the right. I mean, I'm one of the. I'm also kind of, you know, one of the.
Back to the chess. Back to the chess.
Back to the chess. You have a position that's.
Well, no, G pawns here. John, you made a comment earlier, which was a very smart one. Taking away from the center, that would be a good thing. In game time or middle game time, those pawns can be targets, and particularly for G6 now. But Wesley is using the F file to use a bit. How do you weigh that in your system? Do you prefer white's F file? Because I certainly prefer the punch of white file.
I mean, normally I prioritize piece placement, but the thing is here, you can trade on E8 and E1. So I kind of agree with you that you can situate a rook on E3. The problem is, you know, people talk about the principle of two weaknesses. You know, oftentimes it's not enough to have one weakness, you gotta create another one. But I think it's also worthwhile to think about it from the other side. The principle of two strengths. Often not enough to have one main asset in positions in an open file, because the opponent can adjust to that. You sort of need where you are superior. Here we only see one, and Duda is nicely adjusting to it by protecting them at an F3, while an F2 is protected, so I think he's got a tiny hole. But Wesley shouldn't have really any problems holding particularly with that nice time too.
And I was about to say that Duda's project on 3 is taking advantage because look at this position. Black has 3 pawns, white's 2, but because white's pawns are undoubled and white's are creating a passed pawn is possible. That's the downside of the double. Plus side, another open file. Downside, hard to create passed pawns in game. So that is why Duda took towards the center, because if you cut the board at the E file, white has a 5 on 4, and black has a 3 on 2 up when closed because they're not creating passed pawns. What white wants to do is trade off all the pieces on the key opponent and play E4 and have a 4 on 3 advantage. Essentially have an extra pawn being
It's a great explanation. I don't know any better myself, and that's always something people get to do, I think. Is sort of prognosticate what happens if this piece is what happens if you have a pawn endgame when I'm getting the call. Well, the Robert has anti-compliments. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to. Oh, sorry. I'm off the committee for not complimenting Robert has gave me a call. I'll talk to him later. And here we see Wesley getting the knight to that 5, so he's adding some heat to the position, Robert. And it has to be pointed out that with these 3 pieces on the board, an attack is not out of the question. Tactics related to
problem I would say though, after the f5, which is right, there's sacrifice later. This knight can just pop into a 5 or close it down. That's going to show us very quickly. Tactical idea is that I can say, like, C2 check. And like this, run my C2. Take, oh, great queen. Then I have knight takes e3. So distracting the white queen is very much in play because the e3 square may be too much of a target to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and look at Wesley now poking and prodding at Duda's center c5 trying to undermine the knights. Let me tell you that this is getting very concerning with all of the stuff that Duda has to keep together. Maybe queen e4. What is Wesley threatening exactly? I'm not sure, but it just feels like there's tactics in here. b5 is knight e following that other pawn you mentioned, the second rank a2.
It's not easy to keep white's position together. That's the good sign of having this double pawn g6, is your king can kind of have a square, whereas without this f2 pawn, white's king feels a little bit more iffy, and so a lot to consider here for Wesley. He's also not seen enough reason for Duda, and Duda is down quite a lot of time in the second game.
Let's see what he does. And in fact, d5 has been played, and things start to fall apart here for Jan-Krzysztof.
I would be worried about his position for sure, because now c4 is directly under attack. You take on b5, you have to watch out for the a2. How do you even continue here? d5? d5 would be a very
d4. But this is the kind of, d5, that knight on e5 is what concerned him. He puts a rook on a rook, he's trying to sort of, assume that defensive stance, but we see it's possible that maybe he wants d5. I don't know.
And that actually would be the ideal in terms of pawn structure situation if you allow the capture and c4 play d5, because then black's queenside pawns will not be connected as we head closer and closer to an endgame. He does take them, so d4.
Yeah, don't take on d5 because queen takes d5 check. I thought maybe black should put his game on h7.
Wait, knight takes
but then that would work.
It's a 4. Knight takes a 4. Oh, just kidding. You're in check.
Right, exactly.
That's the whole
Okay, so now Wesley has to find maybe queen b6 to open up that avenue to b2. But then Duda can take on c4 with a knight and cover that square. So again, this is really heated up, and what's really good for Wesley is he's got the time to really think through this critical moment. I'm sure he's got a great solution to this.
It's the transition that he's not going to be very thrilled about, because white, towards the endgame, has now 2 unopposed passed pawns. The double pawns we've talked about those enough for now, and the isolated pawns, the queens that are going to be impacted. It's hard to push them when they're not connected.
I have a feeling that Duda's position was really falling apart, but it just seems that this rook f4 has managed to stabilize it. Maybe queen e8 goes back.
Did you see me click on c6 just there?
I did not. I was watching like this.
Yeah, I accidentally touched the queen and touched the c6 square.
Oh, so you played queen c6.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And I'll never forget the time that Robert had me play queen c6.
And queen takes c4 though. Not only you queen a2.
Called the diagonal. Queen a4 is just on the same diagonal.
Yes. I was the right path, but down to a2 is heavy.
But queen e4, queen takes g6. Queen e4, queen h7, queen takes g6, and knight e5. King f6. Okay, so queen e6. Oh. I think white could have gone queen e6 check instead.
Okay, let's go to the analysis real quick.
King h7, queen takes g6.
Oh my!
Knight e5, king f6, knight g4. To save the knight, and then you take the. Anyway, it's not important. I didn't mean to derail us from the game. We just got 14 and now West is going to do something similar. Oh, potentially.
Scared me. Rookie 8 play.
Potentially, queen takes c4. I think is in the air. But
Queen 2 didn't work just yet.
Yeah, now the pawn's starting to fall. Oh. But the knight on f5 is undermined.
It is, and the d pawn is ready to start rolling. d67 coming. Good feet
A really good one, man.
Nice. Anyway, so
queen a1.
Queen a1. I see your idea. Trying to get to h1 over here.
Very simple. But then rook f1 shuts that down. And I thought queen e5 for a second.
White's pieces are all perfectly placed, except
incredible.
H3. I don't think you want the king on H3, but considering where black pieces are, the king is as safe as it will get.
Yeah, maybe you want to go crazy. No, that doesn't work. I'm thinking about all sorts of crazy ideas. That's one hallmark of 2700 plus chess, which might be a sort of a banal observation, but their pieces are always so good. I mean, even black's pieces are good. The sort of superiority is marginal, but it's just enough to set black into a tailspin. And now Wesley dipping below 30 seconds. I don't see a move. I don't see a single piece source as of here.
It's amazing that undermining the knight in f5 is so much. Knight on c4 is right here and well protected. The knight in f5 should be well protected by a pawn, but that pawn's being removed in 18 seconds, counting down here for Wesley. And JKD only has 7.6 himself, but Wesley can't find a move.
He can't find a move, and who can blame him? I mean, neither can we. 5 seconds. Okay, Queen A1 played rook f1, Queen f6. This way. No, but the 6. Queen e7 check. Okay, so he brings some of his pieces back. Duda has to be careful.
Here comes rook f7 and stuff like
Queen
that.
d5 on top of that. Queen d5, Queen f7 also.
Oh my goodness, that's brutal. And he does it. Queen f8
It's over. Takes.